Hello, everyone. So, the 2024 election's quickly approaching, less than a month away. I felt the need to make a video about why I'm voting for Kamala Harris this year. It'll be the first time that I voted for a Democrat for president since 1992, when I voted for Bill Clinton, which I regret because I didn't like his 8 years as president. He could have decriminalized or legalized cannabis, and he didn't do that, even though he said that he smoked but didn't inhale. I still don't know what to make about that. But in any event, the prison population doubled under his 8 years as president, and much of that is because of the war on drugs that he continued, those policies that he continued from Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan. He also had anti-gay policies. The Defense of Marriage Act refused to recognize gay marriages. And the Don't Ask, Don't Tell military policy was another anti-gay policy that Bill Clinton was responsible for. And so for that reason, for those reasons, that's why I didn't vote for him again in 96. Then in 2000, I didn't vote for Al Gore because I just felt that he was going to be a continuation of Bill Clinton's policies. In 2004, I didn't vote for John Kerry because he said he was going to continue George W. Bush's war in Iraq, even though, we were in there based on lies. I mean, the weapons of mass destruction lie. I knew that was BS from before we invaded. There's documentation which I could provide in the comments for anybody who wants more information about that. But it was clear that there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq before we invaded. So, the fact that John Kerry was willing to continue that war against Iraq, I felt like he was just too close to George W. Bush for me to vote for either one of those candidates. Mind you, just to backtrack a bit, in none of these elections have I voted for a Republican, so I just want to make that clear. Should have made that clear from the start, but at no point have I ever voted for a Republican for president. 1992, I voted for Bill Clinton. I've said this before, but that was the only time that I voted for a Democrat. And then since then, it's been third-party candidates, like the Green Party candidates, which is basically what I've been voting for this whole time, from like Ralph Nader, Jill Stein, those candidates are who I've been voting for, because I felt that they were the anti-militaristic candidates, the anti-death penalty candidates. And my whole logic was, I'd rather vote for somebody that I want and not get that person than vote for somebody I don't want and get that person. So that was my whole logic. Same thing with Barack Obama. So, fast forward to 2008 and 2012. He continued George W. Bush's wars, and I was worried he was going to do that, and then he did just that. He didn't decriminalize cannabis or legalize it. He should have done that. It's been documented for decades that cannabis is less dangerous than alcohol, so it really makes no sense that, that it's been criminalized for all these years. Somebody should have followed the science in the White House, but that hasn't happened until Joe Biden. And that's why even though I didn't vote for Joe Biden in 2020, I feel like if 2020 was to happen again, knowing everything I know about what Biden's done during these 4 years, I would have voted for him in 2020. Knowing that he's taken the steps to decriminalize cannabis, he's put it in a category that's less dangerous than cocaine and heroin. Prior to Biden's administration, cannabis was considered as dangerous as heroin and more dangerous than cocaine. It's just nonsense, lunacy, really. So it's good to see somebody take the smart approach for once on cannabis. So Biden gets my support for that. he turned the economy around. Not that it's perfect, but he took some steps to improve it after COVID, and I'm pleased with the progress as far as the economy goes. Biden's weakness, which will be Kamala's weakness, is their stance on Israel. I feel that that they're too soft on Israel, and that Palestinians, they had their land taken from them decades ago, and this invasion of Gaza, it's terrible. It should be considered criminal what Israel's doing to Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. But I'm going to vote for Kamala anyway, because I feel that on that issue we could protest against Kamala. Whereas with Donald Trump, I feel like if he was to win this time, he would take away a lot of democratic freedoms that we've just come to feel that they're the norm. Like me making this video now, I feel like if Trump gets elected, somebody from the government would knock on my door saying, I got to take this down. Or maybe something worse than that would happen to me. I really have no idea, but I have no faith that Trump would honor, any democratic rules, that have been established. And that's because I look at it this way. Donald Trump, because of him, his own vice president almost got killed. Mike Pence almost got killed on January 6, 2021 by Trump supporters. And if Mike Pence, if his own vice president wasn't safe, then I feel like none of us would be safe if Trump gets reelected. And also Trump has pledged to pardon all of the January 6th insurrectionists, whereas obviously Biden has not done that. Trump would obstruct all criminal cases against him. Biden clearly hasn't done that, and neither would Kamala. So I feel like justice really needs to be served against Trump. His trials need to play out, and Trump would take every step possible to prevent his trials from even happening. So basically those reasons. I mean, I have more, but I don't want to drag out this video, but basically that's it. Also, actually just a few quick things more. As a vegan, I understand that neither Kamala Harris nor Donald Trump are vegans, but at least Kamala's willing to, look at the science about things. You know what I mean? She's willing to acknowledge climate change is real, whereas Donald Trump, he has said on at least one occasion that climate change is a hoax. So, I mean, this guy doesn't take science seriously. So, I mean, at least as far as like a plant-based diet goes, she'd be willing to, I feel like she'd be way more willing than Donald Trump as far as, looking into promoting a plant-based diet nationwide. I mean, look at in New York City, Mayor Adams, which, I know that this guy's immersed in his own scandals, but as far as a plant-based diet goes, he's in the Democratic Party, he's mayor of New York City, he's been responsible for there being plant-based options in schools, in New York City schools and hospitals. So he's really done a lot to promote that, and I feel like that's a positive thing for New York City. So if somebody in the Democratic Party is already doing that, it gives me hope that, we could see more of that in the party and hopefully from the president. So that's it. But anyway, thanks for listening to me. Be vegan and prosper. Take care, everybody.